Welcome into Forest Lake High School. It's Section 7 semifinal volleyball here tonight on North Metro TV. Our entire crew is here as the cameras train on the Blaine Bengals and the Forest Lake Rangers. J.W. Cox alongside John Haddon. And John, it's an exciting time of year. Both of these teams have had strong seasons, but you got to get this one win to potentially face off against the #1 seed at Andover in the next round.
Of course, strong seasons that they don't want to see end tonight. That's how it went for Blaine a year ago when they played Forest Lake in this very round. Blaine having the best season they've had in several years. Forest Lake looking for their third consecutive 20-win season. So very solid programs, not just this year, but years coming in.
Should be a good battle back and forth. One of the key players in the middle of things for the Bengals all year long has been one of their middle hitters, Madison Schmidt. And Madison, she does it in a couple of different ways, John. The kills that finish off possessions, but also defensively with the block. She's in the top two.
She's up at the front of the net getting things done. Like you said, on the attack, she can bring the power, she can work it around the blocks that she faces, and then she's able to bring the block against opposing hitters.
The leader in both the offensive categories of kills and the blocks on the other side for Forest Lake is Abby Drury. She's a senior among a couple of seniors that have been impact players on this team. She's going to be the one they have to watch up front on the other side.
I think she's going to be certainly one to watch among many, because this is a team that really balances out their scoring. So Blaine can't focus too much on one player, but if they're going to, this is the one.
The difference maker for Drury, she did have significant varsity time last year. Coach Allen telling me that has helped her in this campaign be one of the impact players. We'll see how that plays out tonight on the court, traveling all the way up to Forest Lake to determine who goes to the finals. Forest Lake and Blaine will tip it off soon right here on North Metro TV.
Our hearts are made stronger by how we treat others.
Put her there.
The light you share can impact those around you, but so can the darkness.
Later, twerps.
Did Pete saying mean things bother you?
So when you reach out to another person, take a moment to consider how they will feel and let your heart be the key to making a difference. Because of you, someone's entire day, year, or even life can change.
In every heart, there's hope.
Forest Lake High School, the side of this Section 7 volleyball semifinal between the Blaine Bengals, who check in with 16 victories, and the Forest Lake Rangers with 19 wins. And Mr. Potato Head just wins every day. It is clearly the Halloween theme in the student section as the Bengals are introduced the road here to the semifinals, each team with a single game already, and both with 3-0 victories in the first round. For the Bengals, it was 3-0 over St. Francis, and Forest Lake, who's the #2 seed in this bracket, they beat Chisago Lakes 3-0. Andover and Elk River, the 1-4 matchup, so absolutely everything has gone by the chalk, and they are all looking forward to a Thursday matchup for the championship game.
But only two are going to get there.
Only two are going to get there. Many are chosen, but only two will go to the championship game. You look at the starters for this Campo, the libero Crow, Brown, Thormus guard, Schmidt, and the outside hitter is Haley Studer. Forest Lake, meanwhile, sends Andrews, Zlab, Peterson, Drury, DeMars, and McCoskey And you mentioned it a little bit in the open there, John. There's certainly Drury is the leader, and that was confirmed by head coach Sherry Alm that she's got that lead in kills, but there's a lot of different options that they can potentially have here on this Forest Lake squad, and that's going to be the biggest challenge maybe for the Bengals to see what kind of Rangers team attacks them from the other side.
And all the starters tonight for the Rangers.
You might start with a feeling out period here tonight, which you would hope that the film sessions and maybe even looking back to previous matchups, even though there might have been some time in between, you can garner some knowledge there. But I think that there might be a sluggish start for both sides in getting set, even though we're in the semifinals.
You mentioned it in the open. The Bengals, a couple of down years headed into this season, as they had their only 2 losing seasons really in recent memory of the last couple of years. So they're back out of that with a 16-12 mark coming in. They had a great stretch early September through the late half. Basically the month of September went 10-2 in those games after a slow start, 2-5. But Coach Gorman told me before that this is certainly the best that they've been playing rolling into this. They had some tough opponents at the end of the regular year, played well in their own tournaments, and now they are a win away from a potential section final matchup with Andover. The Section 7 playoffs coming down to Rangers and Bengals, Elks and Huskies. Oh my, we're ready for some high school volleyball here. Glad you're with us. Tape delayed. We've got our postseason coverage well underway. Looking ahead to some Centennial Cougar soccer at US Bank Stadium to try and track down their second ever state championship.
Against a familiar foe.
A familiar foe indeed. Maple Grove has been the Cinderella story of that 2A soccer tournament.
I feel like those are notes you don't even need to update.
No.
You've seen them so many times, those
Not
two
hardly.
teams.
They could probably just play some of that back. Yeah, that's a lot of section finals matchups going on. Here's the section semifinal volleyball indoors. Evelyn Thormersgaard is going to get things started for the Blaine Bengals, serving left to right, and we are underway here now on North Metro TV. Dug out on the near side by McKenna Andrews. The libero started the possession, and a swing and a strike and a kill for Heather McCoskey.
Remember how I talked about there might be some sluggish starts? Yes, that was slightly deflected, but I'm surprised Studer couldn't get to it. I think by the time set 2 rolls around, she wouldn't have any trouble.
Student section, full throat right away. No feeling out period for them. They have packed into this field house of a gym here.
Well, it's an interesting dynamic because the bleachers are only on one side for volleyball.
Serve dug out, far side, Campo, and she puts that one off the antenna. And Erin Campo, the #1 in kills, #1 in your programs. And she just can't keep it inside the antenna. Second serve for Hannah Zlab, the senior, coming up. Dug out on this near side by Brown. That light touch over and into the net goes Natalie Schmidt.
Called for the lift, trying to hook that over the net. So essentially you've had 3 errors. 1 dig error, 1 attack error, well 2 attack errors really with that lift.
They'll go with Schmidt to the back end. Schmitz, excuse me, and it's too strong. And it's a 4-0 run.
Missing wide. Well, I thought both teams might be a little sluggish so far. It's only Blaine that's struggling, and this really parallels what we saw last night. The first 2 sets, each team started in a 7-0 hole.
Thormersgaard to the far side for Campo, and it's too strong. So 3 errors to start, and now 2 attack errors that go strong. And Coach Gorman, that smile stays on the face for her most of the time. That was good in system for Campo and company. Still looking for their first point as they'll go to the middle. That one's dug out near side by Andrews. Popped on the back, off the block it goes and out of bounds, and it's a 6-0 start for Forest Lake, and the Rangers get the 6 from Julia Peterson, and Coach Gorman needs a timeout here in the first very early on.
Certainly a disappointing start for Blaine. Forest Lake doing everything that they would like. They haven't really had to attack that much because, as we talked about, it's mostly been errors on the Blaine side of the net that have led to points for Forest Lake. So if you're Forest Lake, you don't need to pour it on. You just need to keep providing opportunities to allow Blaine to make mistakes or prove that they're here to play in a semifinal match.
Coach Sherry Alm on the other side has her team one win away from 20. Last year it was a 25-8 season. They won this Section 7 championship. Would lose to Egan first round of state, lost to Shakopee in the second. Both these coaches calmly confident, I'd say, as I spoke with both of them, knowing that the other team on the other side strong at this point in the season, confident in what their teams have done. Coach Gorman there, not a lot of losing seasons, had 2 in a row and now have bounced back, and they'll have a winning campaign this year no matter where things end. Long run at the service line for Hannah's Lab. That's gotten us started after they picked up the first point, breaking the Cougars serve, and a block right back down. That one led in the middle. Yet again, it was Abby Drury. We mentioned tops on this team in blocks and kills, and Drury was on the inside of that block.
We know that volleyball is a game of runs, but it can also be a sport where a team can quit on a set thinking, all right, we can let this one go, we'll move on to the next. And that's the fear, and that's why a point there for the Blaine Bengals is so important, because the larger that gap becomes, the more mentally taxing it is to even consider overcoming.
Needed it from Erin Campo. They'd been going to her. Here comes Eliana Schmitz. Dug out, near side it goes. That one too strong off the left hand of Julia Peterson. So the Bengals string together 2 in a row, and that's what you need, John. You need points strung together here to just at least pull yourself back into it. There's still a lot of match to play.
One good attack for a kill, and then an attack error on the other side. So finally Forest Lake makes an error along the way as well.
Slab back set into the middle, and it's swung through and down by Drury.
Drury was kind of backpedaling there, and so when the ball landed in front of her, she didn't have the reaction time to shift forward.
Heather McCoskey serving.
Back to the service line for the Rangers, and it's Heather McCoskey. Handful of aces on the season. Popped on the backside. Campo switching sides now. Has that one blocked back. Nice block on the near side by Olsen. That one too strong. So an attack error there. Aggressive for the Bengals. It's now 9-2. We're here in the first set of this Section 7 semifinal. Koski again. Long first touch to Thormus guard, and then up and down goes Schmitz, still gets it over. Advantage though to Forest Lake, and the Rangers take it with Abby Drury. 10-2.
Yeah, Forest Lake is doing an outstanding job of keeping their crowd in it. I mean, you can tell the student section came to be raucous tonight. They're all dressed up. They're looking forward to this, and they've had every reason to cheer through 12 points.
10-2, that one too strong, and so the service error goes long. McCoskey gives it up, but it's still 10-3. The Bengals riding a 3-game win streak against Section 7 opponents. 4-1 overall against Section 7 teams this year. Schmitz to the middle to serve straight away. Dug out by Andrews. Good touch right in the middle, down the line, and right in on the back corner, and Drury's already finding her stroke here.
That's Schmitz down the line who had to make the decision. It was up and over her shoulder, so she thought it might carry all the way out. That's a tough ball to play if she thinks she can, or that she should get it, so I can see why she would err on the side of out.
Slab. Bengals return. It comes back over and hits the antenna off the good quick touch and kill. Dropping down for Madison Schmidt. Madison Schmidt, another option along with Schmitz and Campo. 11-4 now. Started with a 7-0 run for Forest Lake. The good late decision there.
Yeah,
and the serve goes long.
I don't know if she heard her teammates back there, and that's, you know, everyone's responsibility. The ladies up front when you're in the back row playing a deep ball, and the ladies on the bench to yell out and let you know, or if she just made the recognition on her own.
Allie Jocelyn, senior setter, back to serve. Thormisgaard pushes it to the back row for Campo that time, and it just goes long. So Erin Campo has the one big kill, but she hasn't gotten into a groove just yet. It's 13-4.
Well, it's hard to get in a good groove when you're attacking from the back row, but she's their leader in kills, and so they're trying to go to their most reliable attacker.
Little miss hit on the first touch, then looking for the communication there to just bump it over. Back set goes to Drury. Down the line again in the corner, and it's Abby Drury. Or excuse me, that was Maddie DeMars that time. The junior's in that spot. Makes it 14-4.
Yeah, double-digit lead for Forest Lake and another timeout taken by Coach Gorman.
It's their largest lead of the game after this 7-0 start. They were up 10-2, first to double figures, and now they've expanded that lead out to 10 at 14-4.
You can see this Rangers team is hot coming in because they have started real strong tonight. They had won 7 consecutive matches entering this, including a 4-0 run at the Rochester tournament.
DeMars putting it in the same spot in the floor that was utilized by Drury a couple of points earlier. Yeah, pretty dominant in that stretch too. Only dropping 2 of their last 19 sets. 3-0 against Chisago Lakes area. And the Rangers looking to continue that here.
Blaine, although they've gotten 16 wins this season, they've never really had a big stretch of matches where you thought, wow, this team's really cooking. It's been very roller coaster, up and down.
Started 2-5, had that good stretch in September. 6 wins in 16 games. And they're being watched now by a cheering wall socket. Serve for Forest Lake, missed touch there, just too many of those where the errors have put the advantage right back to Forest Lake, and the Rangers know what to do with it. Knocked home by Josie Olsen that time to make it 15-4.
And the costume that most stands out is Mr. Potato Head, obviously. But
clearly.
One of my favorite things about the costume is it includes the opening back. It doesn't actually open, but it's drawn on there.
Outlines.
What you would call a defect when the toy first came out, in the sense that you couldn't completely hide that, is now fully included to make sure you know that that's Mr. Potato Head.
Off the block, far side, a very signature piece of the toy. Dug out well. Bengals a chance here. Drop down, but a great dig from Andrews. Long strike to the back, and that one just goes wide. Left-handed attack from Jamie Ifey. And the Bengals let it roll, and it's back to 10 points.
It's tough to miss by that little. I mean, that was so close in that back corner.
You've got an excellent vantage point up here on some of those lines. Obviously, we're not right above it, but elevated position. Haley Studer.
I think the guy with the flag was in a good view.
Absolutely. He's got the best. Off the block, Campo the dig. Dormisgaard to the far side, setting for Brown, and that one drops down. She goes cross court, knocks it home. And Clara Brown, the 9th grader.
6 points, and I think that's maybe the second kill that really stood out for Blaine so far. Otherwise, you're talking about attack or errors on the other side. But that looked like a bump set spike that you want if you're practicing and drawing it up.
This one not the case. Forced to just send it over, and no dig. The Bengals, I think, weren't expecting that to come the way it did. McKenna Andrews gets that to bounce, 16-6.
That ball had bite, just like Barks has bite, it had bite. The top spin sent it right down in front of the defender before she could slide underneath.
Do you think it's top spin that gives Barks the bite too? Or there's a service error.
I guess I don't know.
Could be.
I think it's the fact that it's the only root beer that has caffeine.
Don't think that didn't escape me. Paige Crow back for Coach Gorman to serve here, down 9, trying to pull back closer than 10, is off that block. Bengals pop it back over courtesy of Studer. Advantage for Forest Lake, but they're forced eventually for McCoskey to just push it over. Thormisgaard in the middle, and it's banged down by Schmitz off the defender's right shoulder, and the sophomore makes it 16-8.
This set isn't lost. I mean, there's time to come back in it, but if you don't, more plays like that will have the Blaine Bengals feeling a little more confident at the start of the second.
Paige Crow forces a deep touch on the first, and that was tipped.
You're going to say there was net contact on the Blaine side.
Didn't matter, it was going to be off the block.
Yes.
Anyway, but it will be a point for the Rangers. Natalie Schmitz, she knows this team's got to come out better in the second no matter what happens the rest of the way. You can't start another set the way you started this. Down 9 again, it's 17-8. Here's Sydney Johnson, the senior. Coach Alm just checking on a couple of things. Set to the far side for Brown. Good dig, back line. Set near side. Dug out by Campo again, and that draws all the way out past the antenna. And that's a good shot near side by McCoskey. Couple of kills for her. She makes it 18-8.
Yeah, that was a hot shot. And just to get under it and lift it up was nice, but that first pass so important to give your teammates an opportunity to make attack of their own.
Johnson got it over. The Bengals, though, send it right down in front, and it's Schmitz again with her second kill.
That didn't have a lot on it, and it looked like, I mean, maybe she just got her knuckles on it, or she stuck the fingers out at the last second to slap it there, because that was almost out of her reach.
Dug out, looking for the set for Drury in the middle. Instead, they go backside. Left-handed shot is blocked back, but out of bounds.
That block looked pretty good initially, but it does go out, and the strength of the Forest Lake Rangers there on the attack from the right side makes it happen.
That was Ify on that backside. She ran into Clara Brown and Natalie Schmitz, but enough to push it out. 19-9. They were first to 10, trying to get first to 20 after a 7-0 run started the set. Bengals have been scrambling to even try and contest this first one. That one made it all the way over the tape, and it was over the tape as it was played by Thormisgaard, and that'll make it 20-9.
Bengals over the net. Point Rangers.
It's only a 4-point spread, though, since the 7-0 run. Still enough for the Rangers, and another miss-hit for the Bengals. Just not crisp here in this first. They're being forced to battle. Schmitz in the middle. Crisp for a third time here in this first set.
Yeah, that quick attack has been really nice for Blaine all season long, and we're seeing its effectiveness here against Forest Lake. That is really much more of a college play. So even though we're at the 3A level of high school volleyball, that is still not particularly common. And when a team does it, it can really catch oppositions off guard.
Just the tip of the tape, and it's all going the way of the Rangers here in this first. McCoskey didn't get all of that. It wasn't in rotation, but it goes down, and it's 21-10. Rangers looking to finish off the first. Studer just has to push that one ahead. She'll come back, push it off the block. Andrews, near side it goes. Off a Bengal block and out, and it's Olsen. They are spreading it around, John. There are a number of players in on the act for Forest Lake.
Absolutely, and for the Bengals, you look at someone like Paige Crow trying to get back on that, knowing she has to, but it tipped off the blockers and got out of her reach.
22-10. Studer up, forced over by Crow. Set near side. Again for Olsen, and his block back down. Campo and Schmitz were there, and they forced the finish. It's 22-11. Bengals, you mentioned it early, John, just finding those plays that they would need the rest of the way in a more competitive set. Looking to find some momentum.
Good aggressive
Bowling
serve.
over the top of the tape for Schmitz. Comes right back down the other way for Drury and company. And they're in command, 23-11.
There are times when you want to be a little more conservative with your serve. I don't think now is one of them. You go for broke, hoping that you can catch fire, because there's not a lot of margin for error at this point.
Rangers recovered, got the points. In rotation. Over to Andrews. That one was just wide on that back end for Julia Peterson.
Initially, the signal was it was touched at some point, and the official corrected himself.
So 23-12. Campo keeping it alive here. In the middle. Back down. Once, twice. The third won't go over, and it becomes a good kill for the Rangers. And they will win the first, no, that was the 24th. So now set point. 24-12.
I feel like you might be,
Am I jumping the gun here?
I don't think you're wrong, but you are early.
Student section has the ones up. They want the one from Allie Jocelyn right here to go up 1-0 in this set, in this match rather, as Studer makes them wait. Bounces out, played by Coach Alm there at the end. It's 24-13.
I know there was nothing she was going to do about the diving libero, but the image of her punching a ball and watching the player fall right in front of her was pretty amusing. Good hustle by Andrews, though.
Recovered. Andrews over. Chance for the Bengals. Alive again, but the block's going to come back down from the middle, and Maddie DeMars ends it at 25-13. So a slow start, down 7-0 early, and the Rangers finish off the first set over the Bengals, 25-13. Back with the second after this on North Metro TV.
North Metro TV News is your source for local stories. Highlighting the issues in your community, we bring you the news that's closer to home. Join us as we explore the stories all around us, every day at 2:30, 6:30, and 10:30.
Switches. 25-13. That was the first set, and it was over quickly as Forest Lake got out to a 7-0 lead. J.W. Cox alongside John Haddon, our entire North Metro TV crew. And if you take our camera right now, Mr. Potato Head is about to sprint by, but we'll go to the highlights instead. Bengals, just too much of that. Blocks and defense from Forest Lake. Too many errors for the Bengals early on. And Forest Lake, John, too good of a team to give them that 10-point advantage and expect you're going to come back on them making a bunch of errors.
Absolutely. I think Forest Lake made it look easy. Part of that is because Blaine allowed them to do so with their own mistakes. But Forest Lake never really showed any serious signs of a crack in their game, right? They never misstepped more than maybe 1 or 2 points at a time. So they really controlled the opening set. Can they keep that momentum going into the second? Volleyball's a funny game in that way, where from set to set, things just change so dramatically. You would think that Blaine doesn't have a chance based on how things went in set one, but we know from any number of volleyball matches we've seen that you can't judge an entire match by one set.
The last one you and I did together that was not a playoff matchup was Blaine Bengals Centennial Cougars. Cougars won that one 3-1, but the Bengals took the first set in that one. So
just last night we watched Centennial win in almost as dominant a fashion as just now for Forest Lake, their opening set, and then unfortunately the Cougars didn't have anything left after that and fell in 4.
But I think for the Bengals, you just have to know that still very much in it. Got to clean up some of those mistakes. Control what you can control on your side and then see where you stack up. Two very good teams locking up here in the Section 7 semis. Glad you're here. Mr. Potato Head made a lap around the entire gymnasium. And that's, I mean, his feet are what, John? Like only about 1.5 feet below his
yeah, there's not much of a stride
torso.
there.
Yeah, very short stride. So here we go. Second set from Forest Lake. Zlab will start it. Bengals first touch deep into the net. Makes it all the way over. Rangers, though, in control and down off the block. And Drury gets them started. She had a good first set. But I think we saw some of that balance that Coach Alm talked to me about. It was there. There were a number of different players that the Rangers could go to.
Well, I like the language you used there because it really contrasted Forest Lake's in control. Blaine is not on that first point.
Big dig. Pops right back over. Rangers, though, give it back, so an opportunity to get some control. Goes too strong. Attacking error makes it 2-0.
That is a real rough serve receive for Blaine. I mean, they end up competing on the points, but that ball's being launched all the way from behind the end line. And you need to be able to make a better adjustment to get under it and give a good pass to your setter.
Zlab again. Campo pretty strong into the net. Again, forces that offering back. Andrews picks it up, forced to the front by Zlab, and the big swinging strike was too strong.
Bengals get the point on the Forest Lake attack error, but again, we saw a serve receive that went too strong, nearly cost them the point right away. Got to get better in that area tonight, right away.
Rangers were definitely still in the driver's seat in that possession. That serve comes up short by design. They're trying to hop in, but back to the set in the middle, and Drury knocks it down for her second kill in 3 points.
Great attack there from Drury. They've set her up in the middle time and time again throughout the course of the night. She's answered the bell.
3-1 start for the Rangers. So they took the first to the middle and a missed hit there. We've seen Schmitz now twice, a little missed time on the jump that put her out of rhythm.
Well, she's also that player that goes for those quick attacks. So there needs to be good communication about which one they're using.
And like you said, that's a next level move right there that you're trying to execute. From the back, Brown has that one dug out. Andrews near side. Little shove attempt there at the net by Julia Peterson. Comes up short. Bengals back with him too.
The right idea for Peterson. She wasn't going to get to that ball in a clean, big swing attack like she would have liked. She needed to make the adjustment, but she went a little too soft on trying to touch it over the net.
4-2 serve for Brown. Near side block was there and a miss hit. Forced there by Abby Drury.
Yeah, I don't think that hit the block at all, but you're right, they were in position. If that had been touched again, it would have been a fourth touch.
Look at that camera angle. Who's dangling on the net to get that camera for us? Extra pay.
Just
Far
hope the
side.
camera survives.
Big swing. Josie Olsen gets the kill. Yeah, I'm having flashbacks to when we first got these GoPro cameras.
Didn't
and
we
we put it up.
lose one at the section hockey tournament?
We almost lost one. There it is. There's the camera operator. We almost lost one at the USA Cup. We put it at the back of the net. And of course there was a
Machines are
goal.
taking their jobs. We could have used a cameraman up there tonight. Or camera woman. What's up, Josie?
That one back down on. Oh, they say that one was long. So it'll be 6-3. Andrews to serve. Bengals never tied, but at 0-0 in both sets. And they've never had a lead. Forced to the far side. Olsen pops it up. And into the tape it goes. Bengals creep one closer at 6-4.
Those are so disappointing if you're Forest Lake and you get someone like Josie Olsen just trying to touch it, be a little crafty, and instead doesn't put enough on it to even clear the tape.
Schmitz off her serve. Knocked down right in front. DeMars with a big, strong kill. The junior with authority there makes it 7-4.
Take another look. The
Short,
block
tight
came,
set. Yeah.
and she knew where the block was coming, so she hit it just to the right. Well done.
Third three-point lead of this set. Won't hold as the service error makes it 7-5. Campo to try to start the first run really of this match, and that is in along the alley, knocks it home for the ace to make it 7-6.
McCoskey misjudging and hands an ace to her opponent.
Against the chanting student section. A little wobble there, headed after that first touch. Advantage Bengals, and they'll take advantage, and it's Madison Schmidt who ties this up at 7. 3-0 run for the Bengals.
First one we've had. 7-7 tie.
Great dig for Crow to get that started. Campo still on the service line. Off the block, dug out, Campo. She'll set near side, swing for Schmidt. Make that Studer, and off the touch it goes and out. And the first lead of the night for the Blaine Bengals.
Andrews late on the swing. Wasn't that hard a hit ball, but she misjudged it, and it glances into the crowd off her arms.
Still Campo. First touch dragged towards the bottom of the net, but settled down and tapped off a block. And DeMars had enough on it to spin it through to tie us at 8.
There's the effort to tie things up. I don't think that stays in if she leaves it alone. Getting a look at that good camera angle.
8-8. Jocelyn off the serve into the middle, and what timing to still force it down for Madison Schmidt. Hangs in the air and gets just enough to force it down past the block. 9-8.
Defying gravity. Very nicely done. Had the block already on its way down, just like she was.
Back set. Got a little crafty. Bengals were there, courtesy of the dig from Crow. Campo streaks up from the back line and comes up just short. Tied again at 9 apiece. 3 of those, third tie of the set. Largest lead has belonged to Forest Lake. 3-point spread, 3 different times. Little back set goes off the arm on the backside. Madison Schmidt.
Really nice job by Schmidt. That's 2 good plays for her. She steps out, which is a shame because she was really rolling that last one. Good placement, right? She looks for it in the back corner, clearing the block and putting it out of the reach of the defender Swanson in the back.
Bengals set up the block. No match that time for Drury. Back into it to tie us up at 10 apiece.
Looked like Drury just split those 2 blockers, not there in time, not sealed off, not hip to hip. And she's able to push it down to the hardwood.
Hannah's Lab. The senior leaders in the middle. Schmitz, that's returned by Andrews, but strong. Slapped right back. Schmitz, another chance to push it down. Good rally going on. Andrews to the backside, swung on by DeMars. Dug out on the back line by Brown. Pushed back to Campo from the back line. Andrews able to pick it up. Set, pulled out again by Campo. Held onto by Thormesgaard and then put down by Schmidt in the middle. Schmitz sends us to an 11-10 lead for the Bengals.
Forest Lake won a double touch call there. They didn't get it. I love this. Everyone's up at the attack line except for one defender. That's a lot of ground to cover in the back row by yourself. Good find by the Bengals on the attack.
Just a sophomore there, Evelyn Thormesgaard playing in the middle. She pulled that one back. 11-10. Drury in the middle, and that one drops home.
Yeah, it didn't have as much on it as I thought when she first took her swing. So it was able to sneak on the inside, not all that deep.
Just past Brown. McCoskey back to serve at 11-11. Thormesgaard again in the middle for Schmitz, and again, the sophomore pounds it to the deck. 11-12, no bigger than a 1-point lead for the Bengals. But now serving with that edge back for Clara Brown. Andrews, the miss hit, the ace for Brown, and there's your 2-point lead at 13-11.
Student section chanting pressure on her as she goes up for the jump serve, and she crushes it.
Brown again, that one too strong.
Maybe too much crushing there.
I'd like to put some pressure on the student section, see if they can mix in another chant. I mean, they've been doing that for a set and a half now. I like it, they're into it. Mix up the repertoire a little bit.
You know, usually the bigger the group of people you have, the easier you want to make it.
That's
more
true.
Complications, more chances for problems.
Schmitz has that one returned, and the Bengals on the dig. It'll push into that student section. Off the kill for DeMars. All tied up again at 13 apiece. That is our 6th tie of this set. Done in the first after the early lead for the Rangers. Won the first set 25-13.
All right, they have to get rid of that ball because it touched the student section. I believe that's a bylaw.
Pressure, pressure. I could hear it from the ball. 13 apiece. And double touch. So an error for the Bengals. Give another point.
These teams have looked every bit as even as the scoreboard shows to this point in the second set. It has been a big change from set one.
Swing. Studer to the back line to tie us up again. But you're absolutely right. And a lot of that, the Bengals coming out certainly much stronger in the second than they did over the first 7 points.
Playing the way that we're used to seeing them play throughout the course of the season.
Mr. Potato Head melting?
I think he's tired after that run.
14 all. Dug out by Thormesgaard. Touched by Schmitz. Near side, Studer off the block. Andrews pulls it away from the deck and pops it far side for Olsen, who knocks it home. 15-14, Forest Lake.
You know, I am a little concerned about him now. I mean, you could have a serious medical issue inside that thing and no one will know what's going on.
That's true. Somebody always has to be the potato buddy. Allie Jocelyn puts that one into the tape. We're tied again at 15. The sound of 7 ties back and forth. That is how Mr. Potato Head sees, to the best of our knowledge. We haven't been in the suit.
No.
We haven't gone that in depth. Push, middle, block right back down. Great setup on the near side by Madison Schmidt in the middle. Lining up with the block with Studer. 16 serving 15. Andrews the dig. Set from Jocelyn. Pop to the back line. Pulled out by Crow. Long swing for Studer near side. Dug right back out. Tipped off the block, and the Cougars can't dig it. Jamie Ivey, far side.
If you're Blaine at this point, I think your best attacks are going to be to the back. If you can get it back there, it doesn't even need to be a slam. There is room back there, and we've seen it throughout the course of the night. Good placements and power tips, strong pushes will get it there. Or you could go with the top spin, kind of float it back there and see if it'll bite down.
Little change-up move in the middle that was dug out nicely by Swanson for the Rangers. Sent back and out. And Forest Lake takes a lead at 17-16. I'm starting to think you're right now. Toon Squad Squirrel right there needs to check in on Mr. Potato Head.
So is it fast, face drooping? I'm very concerned.
Studer, concerning, knocks it down in the corner far side.
T is for time to call. Can't remember that whole thing. I sure hope no one has a stroke around me.
Face drooping, arm weakness, slurred speech, and time to call.
Time to call. I knew fat, which is no surprise, but I was missing the S, so thank you.
No eye drooping.
Yeah, but those eyes are dead.
Cold, dead eyes of a spud. That one somehow pushed over after the lead on the serve from Studer. Down on the near side. It's picked up to the middle. It goes off the block. DeMars dug out nicely by Thormisgaard. Studer keeps it alive. Netted at 17. Far side, and the set drags too far into the net. McCoskey can't get there. And after the long rally, the Bengals take the edge.
Excellent work for the Blaine. Yeah, look at those. Those are glazed over. I think he's baked.
Delicious. 18-17. Studer with the ace.
So the Blaine bench sure is into it here in this second set, and we do get a timeout. I was looking down at Coach Allman. I thought, is she going to ask for it at some point? The margin isn't that big, but we're running out of time in the set, playing to 25, and she calls for the break to rally her team.
Biggest it's been, certainly. Bengals a lot of ties here as we've gone through 9 of those now in this second set. And you saw that huddle for the Bengals. Yeah, I don't know if that's, they've got some sort of both shark and divine intervention going on over there. You can catch episodes of Sports Den daily, 2, 6, and 10. And I'm sure we'll have a full breakdown of Mr. Potato Head. There's John's favorite part. Where's he going?
The whole crowd just fell over on each other. Hope everyone's okay.
But to the Bengal huddle, lots of smiles, lots of bouncing around. You wouldn't think that was a team that lost the first set after going down 7-0. And I think that tells you a big reason as to why they've come right back out. And they've got a 2-point edge in this one here in your opponent's home gym.
I mean, obviously the 7-0's a big deal. And it spoke to the start of the set. They lost by 12 in the end, so it wasn't even necessarily evenly back and forth the rest of the way either. There were struggles all the way through for Blaine.
You get an ace, sometimes you end up with the service error. Thormisgaard right in the middle, a little off the side of the hand there for Schmidt. Don't think that was intentional as it's dropped down. Drury tried to catch him unawares. Campo from the back line. First receive, sent all the way over. Back to the Rangers. Far side off the block. Kept alive by Crow. Thormisgaard to the near side. Brown down the line and too strong. 19 all, our 10th tie of the set.
Blaine makes the error in the end. Go back to the back row attack from Aaron Campo. I really like that stroke from her. And I like them giving her the ball in that situation because the front row was all down after recovering the ball. Those ladies weren't in position. That's when you go to your back row.
Strong hit by Brown, forced the dig, and then the block again was there. The attack from Jamie Ifey didn't matter. The Rangers were into the net anyway. It's 20-19. First to 20 this time is the Bengals. Dig, but too strong. Pops out of the net. Good effort from Studer with the off speed from Ifey. Her second kill of the set. 20-20. I think Barbara Walters is too old of a reference these days. She hosted 2020 at one point.
Isn't she?
Maybe.
60 Minutes, right? Well, no, she's on The View.
Ah, that's what she does
Right?
now. But yeah, wasn't she on 20? Anyway, who can't even get it right? I guess we should leave it alone. 21-20, Rangers take the lead.
I've always felt like 2020 is like a third or two-thirds of the show that 60 Minutes is.
At best. Timeout for the Bengals. All the good work they've done here, John. They certainly don't want this to slip away now, knowing that, yeah, losing that first is tough, but you got a lot of leeway to bounce back. You lose two, and all of a sudden you're right against the wall here.
Oh, you said
on the road.
Losing this second set would be devastating. It's not impossible to overcome, but you can throw that first one away and say it just wasn't there for us, right? But you lose this one, you weren't able to come out on top in a set that you really competed in.
Bengals have gone to 4 sets 7 times. Obviously, a lot of their tournament play, you're not going to get there, as it's best of 3. Forest Lake playing 1 and 3 in the section standings when you just look at the overall win totals. If you're 1 and 2, 16 there. Elk River sneaks in with the 14, but 8-0 against section opponents for Andover. Gets them the number 1 seed. 21-20, Forest Lake serving it a point ahead. Bengal mistouch, nearly turns into a point. Back set, McCoskey has it dug out by Studer. Dormisgaard back to Campo, dug out by Andrews. Nearly hit the rafters and the basket. Forced over by the Rangers. Studer an easy touch. Dormisgaard right in front. They wanted it again for Schmitz, and it's blocked back. Dormisgaard back to Campo. Back row kill, and it's too strong. Had what they wanted, John. It just didn't go down, and a good block.
That was a great point for both sides. I mean, really clean play. Everyone making strong passes and spikes. Mistake in the end comes from Blaine.
Campo too strong, trying to make it happen. It's 23-20.
Also on that long rally, as we get a timeout here from Blaine, something that I hadn't thought about, and maybe I should have since we're up at the top here at this gymnasium in Forest Lake. They've got high rafters here. Last night, the gym we were at North St. Paul, it was real low. It seemed like things were bouncing around all the time. But this gymnasium gives these ladies some room to work with. I don't think we've had anything touch the top at any point tonight.
Yeah, it's going to contact the basket before, certainly before the rafters, and maybe the netting in the middle that might drop down. But certainly it's going to take a high type pop fly to get all the way up there. You see the gym and the student section currently on a 6-1 run for the Forest Lake Rangers. Bengals had their largest lead of the match at 19-17. Oh, loves himself a little bit of rock star. Smash Mouth. There it is. Took me that long to get it. I had it, I lost it, but it's Smash Mouth. 23-20.
It's not as forgettable as I would like, I think.
This is Lab. Brown off the block, and that's going to go down and keep the Bengals alive.
That's what they needed. They had to have that point out of the timeout.
Coach Dorman continues to coach and prod the team, and it'll be a service error that puts them at set point.
That one hurts.
Gotta have 2. Check out, you gotta have 3.
I would actually be a fan of playing kind of conservatively, and I almost wonder if that's what she was doing. That's why she came up so short on her hit, because that wasn't hard line drive into the net. That was fairly soft.
McCoskey. Middle for Schmitz. Block back. Set 2 goes to the Lakers. They close the set on an 8-2 run. Their longest run since they started the first set, 7-0. And they go up 2-0 after 2. Back to Forest Lake for the third after this on North Metro TV.
If you love them enough to crawl into a play place to get them to come down, then surely you'll check nhtsa.gov/the right seat to make sure they're in the right car seat.
(25-13, 25-21). John, I thought the Bengals had that second set up 19-17, but the strong close keeps the fans hopping here in Forest Lake as the Rangers close it out 8-2 on the run, and now they're firmly in the driver's seat. You can't get them both back, though, all at once. If you're Blaine at this point, you just got to focus on winning number 3 and then see what you can do.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, this was a great back and forth set. And Blaine had every opportunity to win that, but they did not finish strong. And so it seemed like in the first set, they didn't really play strong at any particular point where you would say, oh yeah, Blaine really had this stretch. In the second set, they were neck and neck and then fell off at the very end, allowing 8 of the last 10 points to go to their opponent. And Forest Lake, I think sometimes teams, when they go up 1-0 or even 2-0, they might take it easy. When you're in the postseason, I'm sure Coach Alm is reminding her team to put their foot on the gas, because this is not a time to allow the Blaine Bengals to think that they compete. Forest Lake would like to see much more a start like they had in set 1 than in set 2.
Including the 2 set victories here in this semifinal matchup, 19-2 in their last 21 sets for Forest Lake. So they haven't had a lot of let up, losing sets one way or the other. Bengals start with the serve, and it'll be Cam Poe who starts it off. Nobody's gotten into a real good rhythm attacking for the Bengals. A couple of good ones for Cam Poe, some for Schmitz in the middle. First big strong touch. Bengals pop it over and out, and it's a 1-0 lead. It's been that in both sets. Now a third straight for the Rangers. Potato Head and company ready to send the Bengals packing back down I-35. 1-0. Middle. And again, we see Madison Schmidt hang and defy gravity, whether she was trying to or not. The timing worked out in her favor to tie it 1 apiece.
She looks like the Jumpman logo. I mean, she's just
that
up
one
there.
For sure, yep.
Is she wearing Nikes? I haven't looked to see if
They
she's
are
on
wearing
brand.
Nikes. Back set, Rangers trying to take the lead. That one's out, and there'll be a Bengal early 2-1 lead.
Tried to cut it around the block and too aggressive. Probably hoping that it got deflected by someone up at the net.
Studer on the return, and it's knocked right down, shy of the back line by Abby Drury. A lot of that second affected by people other than Drury. She was dominant in the first. It's an early one here to tie things up. Send the serve to McCoskey. turned a little strong. Campeau back to Studer, and that's put right back down as the Bengals couldn't really find their way into the rotation. 3-2.
Drury leading that push up at the front to deny the Bengals any opportunity.
Big swing that time for Schmidt. That was on time and on target, and the senior, big point to tie us up.
She's got all kinds of energy. You see her go down the bench line? Doesn't look tired at any point.
Couldn't miss it. They need that kind of energy. Got to win one. They try and back it up. That serve draws Drury back at least 2 steps, John, and she still found a way to get up on top of that and slam it down 4-3.
You said on top of it, and I think the Rangers all night long have done a good job of getting on top of the ball. We've seen more than a few times the Blaine Bengals back row coming up short trying to get to those balls. You can't get it down that close to the attack line unless you're getting on top of the ball.
Campeau first touch. Opportunistic there, Thormisgaard, and she will force the double hit. So it does work out. First time she's done that, and you can keep that in your back pocket, you're probably going to catch them unawares.
That's one of those tools you can only pull out so much. I know we watched Clara last night for Centennial. She tried to do it repeatedly, and I think it worked one time towards the end of the match. You really need to pick your spots with that.
Ellie Jocelyn, Jamie Ivey.
Ivey will go back to serve. This is very much like set number 2, which featured 10 ties. The last at 19 all. First touch forces Campeau to the front row. Bengals just play it over. Andrews, the bump set. That's the left-handed shot. Dug out, going for Campeau. She'll swing, and it's dug by Andrews. Back into it for Forest Lake. Popped back over by Olsen. Back for Campeau. 2 steps into it, light touch. Andrews will set. Near side, the push by Ivey.
Tough play by Ivey. That came over the top of her.
Brown keeps it alive with the left hand. Miscommunication there in front with Thormisgaard and Schmitz. And it's into the net after a good long rally. It's 6-4 Rangers.
Yeah, Ivey and Andrews, the stars on that one. They had that nice push I talked about. Andrews had a big dig throughout the course of it. Really strong and well-fought point by Forest Lake.
Schmitz, back row, Annie. 6-5.
Goal shot by Natalie Schmitz. Clara Brown back to serve.
So here's Brown, the outside hitter. Getting set for her jump serve.
Off the tape, and that one works out in the Bengals' favor to tie us at 6.
That lead is so tough to play. You and I remember the days when that didn't count. Had to clear the tape.
Ace, and quite the effort on that far side. Sliding face first toward the stands for Allie Jocelyn.
Jocelyn gets up, smile on her face. The other setter, so to speak, because Lab leads the team in sets, but it has been fairly even throughout the course of the year.
Brown again, doing it for the Bengals, pulling them from 6-5 down to 7-6 up. McCloskey blocked back, Schmitz and Studer in front. 2-point edge for the Bengals. First touch, drags back over. Brown will play that herself. Campeau. Andrews has had a good set, digging it out along that near side. Net contact. Bengals are under. 8-7. Paige Swanson, the junior libero. At times, libero along with Andrews. Schmitz in front, had that one blocked right back. DeMars and McCoskey meeting at the middle. Another block forces Campeau to bump it. Schmitz too far into the net for Studer to do anything with it. And we're tied again.
Well, this third set really feels like the last one. Two teams going back and forth, tethered to each other on this scoreboard.
Better than halfway to the 10 ties we had in the last one. This is our 6th. Campo trying to break it. Dug on the back line by Olsen. Pop back there by Ify and sent over by Andrews. Libero to libero as Crow puts it to the middle. Schmitz, pancake save. Nobody can do anything with it after the dive for Andrews. Bengals lead again.
I mean, you say 6 ties so far. We've only had 8 chances for a tie, so there really have not been any kind of a run for either team of significance in this third set.
Bengals did have a 2-point lead at 8-6. Nothing better than a 1-point lead for the Rangers. They've got the 2-0 lead in the match. Dig for Alessandra Tau in for the first time. Back set, Ify puts it down. The juniors having a good game here in the semis. Ties this again.
Back into the Rangers, Adam Drury. Sub for the Rangers, Sydney Johnson.
Drury back in, Johnson in to serve. The winner of this meets the winner of Andover and Elk River for the title. Studer pushes it over with the palm, gets a couple of touches and out. Bengals lead again.
Scoring shot for Haley Studer.
It'll be a Campo serve.
Kenna Andrews back in for the Rangers.
DeMars into the back line as an option. That's too strong. Campo goes aggressive.
Point goes for the Rangers.
10-all.
Julia Peterson, Hannah Slab for the Rangers.
It's Lab and Peterson. So Peterson, Drury, and McCoskey up front now. It's a good attacking option. In the middle. Long swing headed for the back line and too strong for Madison Schmidt. Just so springy up there along the net. And we've talked about her looking like that Air Jordan logo. Popped right up, just could not put it down on the back line. Rangers up 1. Campo, too strong, no touch.
I think they whiffed on it, and it was to their advantage.
Their first 2-point lead of the set, up 2-0 in the match.
Oh, now they are saying that it was touched.
Not touched.
Not touched. That's a weird way to signal it wasn't touched.
He pointed the wrong way. He thought it was touched. We had it right. It's 12-10. Stu to the dig. To the middle. Schmidt the light touch. Returned. Backside it goes. Peterson can't get it. Past Campo. Back set for Campo. To the back row and Doug. Andrews, Peterson. In on the corner. Campo bends away, hoping it goes deep. And Peterson drops it home. First 3-point lead, largest of the set either way.
And by the way, in that other semifinal, Andover and Elk River tied at 1 game apiece.
Campo, long way across the floor it goes for Studer, and she finds the back line. 13-11, back to the serve for Haley Studer and the Bengals. Some pretty good vision for the junior. To the middle for Drury. Tries to get nifty with the push. It's throttled back by Campo. McCoskey off the block. Campo plays back to Thormisgaard, back to Campo and down far corner. 1-point set again.
Really nice rhythm. You get Campo involved because she's been making some good plays defensively. Feed her out of the back row that time, and she makes it happen.
From down 3 to back within 1. Studer into the net. All right, they answered the challenge. Came up with another chant. Over, not under. I don't know how unique that is.
Oh, 900. I didn't know what they were implying.
14-12. First touch too strong. Advantage, Rangers. Peterson, left-handed down.
Forest Lake has been good on the attack all night. We have not seen a ton of those, right? That kind of wind up, the kind of plays we saw last night from Whittington and Peterson. And watching the Centennials loss.
Yeah, it's a couple of seniors, Drury and Peterson, getting together after the big point. Just emphatic right there. No doubt both in and unreturned. Three-stripe life for Mr. Potato Head. I mean, is that like when the dome collapsed? I mean, does he need a little infusion of air?
How do you get more air into it?
Slimming down. Potato is peeled. What was your favorite Mr. Potato Head accessory? Did you have one?
Yes, I never thought about that.
I loved, like, the mustache that looked like it had been waxed, you know, like the brown one. Very well coiffed, I guess you would say, with that facial hair. Follow us on social media. We promise we won't talk about Mr. Potato Head much on social media.
No promises.
At North Metro TV, at NMTV Sports. 15-12. Bengals still trail by 3. Rangers give one back. On the service ace. So nobody's led by more than 3. Rangers have done that twice. Bengals lose the first. Wasn't ever really in doubt. 25-13 was the final. 25-21 in the second. Campo. And a little serve, or rather a receive error there on the back line. So give Campo the kill. It's 15-14.
So for the Rangers, Katie Gamendo.
Feels like there's a little lull here. I mean,
both of these teams have been high energy throughout.
Yes.
You would think that would happen at some point just naturally, and then you got to bounce back. And an ace helping the Bengals. Paige Crow ties us up at 15.
where was she keeping that? She's the only player out there without sleeves, and yet pulls out the ace.
Peterson looking for another. That one's too strong. Too much hump on that. And it's a 16-15 Bengal lead as they've gone on a run now. From down 15-12 to up 16-15. A little 4-0 action. To the middle for Drury. Tries to get nifty to that back corner. 15-17.
Bengals.
Andrews, perfect receive. And a great finish. Josie Olsen. 16-17. Far side for Brown. Block touches there. Peterson keeps it alive. Bump set for the back row. Forrest Studer on the dig. Thormusgaard to Brown. Long for the kill.
Back row continues to be open. There's less, room to make a mistake back there. But when Blaine has kept it inside the back line, they found a lot of success.
18 serving 16. Thormusgaard, the honors. Near side set, and that was a good little change of pace for DeMars right in the middle.
Jocelyn.
18-17. Jocelyn back in. Far side Campo. Easy as you please. Put it right on the money. 19-17.
This is exactly where Blaine was a set ago. They had the 2-point lead. We're heading into the home stretch, and they let it all slip away.
It was an 8-2 run to close for the Rangers. There's a service error to close it to 19-18.
It's funny to compliment someone who just stepped out of the way, but Andrews made a really nice play there and not going after that ball. It was a hot shot, and she had to make a split-second decision, and she peeled away.
Bengals trying to right the ship, and Schmitz will do it. 18-20.
Sometimes when you watch Blaine, it's hard to remember how much Schmitz has done because you got two Schmitz and a Schmidt on the team. Really, Natalie Schmitz and Madison Schmidt at the middle of the net have had a nice night.
Tao on the serve, up 2 at 20-18. Rangers have to force it over. Bengals can't do anything but pop it back, and it's sent down by DeMars. 20-19, serve back to the Rangers.
Everyone's caught up at the 10-foot line. That's still a short attack. Look, it's in front of the attack line, but she manages to find floor.
Sydney Johnson trying for another great close to a set for the Rangers. Back set, Cam Poe puts it home. 2-point lead at 21-19.
It's felt like Campo has not had a lot of opportunities at the net tonight. They've set her up in the back row quite a bit because she hasn't. Things haven't worked in her favor when she's rotated up front where she should be most effective.
Bengals clinging to life here. Ify pops it over. Thormisgaard to Studer, too strong.
The Rangers are playing catch-up. They've been playing catch-up for a little while, but one more point, and this set is tied.
They had the 15-12 lead at Forest Lake. Watch that evaporate to 19-17, the lead at the high point for the Bengals. It's now a 1-point edge. Serve for Zlab.
16 service aces this season, second most on the team coming in.
Deep set, dive, Andrews can't pull it down, and Sarah Zins out of nowhere comes up and picks up a big kill.
The senior getting an opportunity here late.
And rotates out. Zins on the far side to keep it alive. Studer now to serve. And the Rangers will take a timeout. The last two sets have come right down to it. The first was not close, 25-13. Bengals in command late in set number 2, and they fall. At a 19-17 lead here, that is transferred to a 22-20 lead. Keeping their heads right above water. Order a Blu-ray disc of this one, NorthMetroTV.com.
A baby Blu-ray. So
I like how the students take a timeout and huddle up too. That's
got to get it figured out. How about Zins? I mean, cold off the bench, been watching all night. We're at the end of set 3, and not only does she rotate in and maybe get a dig, but she comes up with a kill.
And this is not an easy one. Off the bump set.
She's back off the net too, so you would think that would be harder.
And has to rotate right out. She doesn't get that. I mean, look at the flip in. You're sitting there tied at 21 instead. She steps up big. 22-20, Studer to serve. 3 away from staying alive. Nearly an ace. Just forced over from the back. Studer a clean touch. Near side it goes for Schmidt, and Schmidt will put it down.
Bengals closing in. It's the same position we remember the Rangers being in last set. Now's the time to close. Can't let this lead slip away.
Our favorite chant is back for Haley Studer. Quick word from her coach. Takes a pressure-releasing breath and aces it against the Rangers to put us at set point. 24-20, Rangers take the timeout. Despite their deficits early, the Bengals have been hyped up all night, and here they are, a point away from forcing a fourth.
And they're finishing, right? I mean, we talked about it in the second set. They were unable to do so. They let a lead slip away here, up 19-17, and they're the team that has gone on the run to maintain and even extend the lead.
Historically, these Bengals, 7 different section championships under their belt. Haven't done that, though, since they went back-to-back for section titles in 2011 and 2012. These 2 straight years prior to this as section champs for the Rangers, the pinnacle of their success. Their only other state trip came in 2002. Either team that wins tonight has one more hurdle before they can chalk up another of those. One more hurdle to stay alive here for Studer and company. Andrews forced Peterson to bump it over. Campo, Thormisgaard, dug out by Andrews. To Peterson off the block. Settled by Brown. Back for Campo. Controlled by Peterson. Set near side. Swing off the front of the tape. And the Bengals will stay alive. Losing the first 2. Will go to the fourth. 25-20. The Bengals eke one out here at Forest Lake. Now, next up, force a fifth to stay alive here in this season. 25-20 in the third. Back with more after this on North Metro TV.
Hey!
There are amazing things to discover in the forest.
Toothless, time to go! What you picking up on, bud?
It's a whole hidden world of wonders. And the perfect place to spend time with family. What better place to let your imagination soar? Experience nature and create a memory you can share. Visit discovertheforest.org to find a forest or park near you.
Pecorino, Campidoglio, vino rosso, vino bianco, cappuccino, Rigoletto, Cannelletto, Saccomano, Vaporetto, Portofino, Leonardo, Amaretto, Marco Polo, Parmigiano, Caravaggio, Arlecchino, Allegretto ma non troppo, piano piano, Bardolino. Viva, 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 viva l'Italia, viva l'Italia, viva, 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 viva l'Italia che mi va.
Now Josie's ready for a fourth set.
She brings the energy.
I think it's the snacks. She's got snacks over there.
What
I can
does
see
she
them.
have?
She's got snacks. She's ready to go.
That's
yeah?
a tall beverage she's got there too somewhere.
Oh, it's empty, so she does have the energy.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Everybody
Thanks for
ready to
sharing.
go. Mr. Potato Head watched a fanciful third set right there where the Bengals put themselves in the same position they were in the second, but this time they closed. Forest Lake also very good, took a 3-point edge about halfway through. Bengals defense, and they finally got over the edge. There wasn't a huge difference, John, in the way that Bengal team played in the third set versus the second.
No.
Just comes down to the close.
Absolutely. And I think that's good news for the Bengals. They played 2 good sets in a row. They've only been able to win one of them. If things stay on pace, they've got every opportunity to win this fourth set and force that fifth.
This is the 8th time the Bengals have gone to a fourth set this season, 4 and 3 in the prior 7. They've gotten to 5 sets just 3 prior times and are 1 and 2. That block, 1-2 and right back down.
The block has made the adjustment to Madison Schmidt hanging in the air. So they stayed up or they jumped late, one of the two, but they were there when she came with her late swing.
4th straight 1-0 start for the Rangers. The first time they did it, it turned into 7-0. Campo from the back. Returnable. Peterson, though. Feet on the ground. Ducks it back over. Far to Campo. Big swing, too strong. Third time at a 2-0 start for the Rangers. First, second, and now in the fourth. Campo cuts in front for the first receive. Near side it comes. Studer, dug out by Andrew. Right in the middle for Zlab. Too strong into the net. Shades of set number one. Couple of errors. And the Rangers using that to their advantage, a 3-0 lead. Schmitz the dig in the middle. Studer off the block and out, and that settles it in, at least to get a point on the board for the Bengals, 3-1. Studer stepped up big. She had the ace that put us to set point at the end of the third. Couple of big hits to keep plays alive from the back. Campo's serve, first touch into the net, saved by Peterson, but too strong.
That was a beautiful serve. That was all about the serve, and I know they got 3 touches and they got it back over the net in a sense, but Campo, that was like a knuckleball. So the first player there on the serve receive had a real hard time passing.
Drury puts it down right near the line, forces Campo to play it. It's 4-2. Tough position there. You know, you got a good player who's got that touch to keep it in. Campo had to play it.
I gotta say, being a volleyball ref, it's gotta be the life, right? You don't have to run anywhere. You don't have to squat down like in umpiring for baseball. You just stand. I mean, the guys on the lift can just like lean forward and rest his hands.
Yeah, hanging out. A little side-to-side motion every now and again.
He looks comfy up there.
Near side, Studer. Dig, Andrews kept it alive. Good second touch from Zlab, forced over. Studer again, blocked back at her. She plays it up. Studer again, Zlab again. Andrews bumps that far side. Up and over and down for McCoskey. Make that Olsen. 6-2. And note, section play, they do bring in 2 extra officials than normal to play on the corners or officiate on the corners, as you've seen that shot there. Usually in regular season play, just provided by the home team. Everything comes up a notch. This Campo, a little notch and a half too strong. 7-2, the largest lead we've had either way since the first set. And the Bengals need the timeout here.
Say Coach Gorman might have been thinking the same thing. This one slipping a bit.
Last 2 sets have both been very, very close, back and forth. Nothing separated by more than 3 points at any juncture. Students are fading a bit, John. They didn't really get the huddle going on the timeout.
Have they done that every time?
Almost.
I feel like if the song is right, it's almost a pseudo dance party, and they were going that way, but
Party in the USA stops everybody in their tracks.
Well, they're trying to get to the bridge, and it's just taking a little long.
Is this Smash Mouth?
No, it is not.
Oh, okay. Right. Good. Thank you. 7-2 here at the break.
All-Star, Walking on the Sun.
That's about it.
Now they got one more.
It's probably on the Shrek soundtrack, right?
No, I think it's on the Can't Hardly Wait soundtrack.
My thoughts exactly. 7-2. Coach Alm's squad is taking the big edge here. They jumped out to a 2-0 lead in the match. Bengals took the third, 25-20. You think they put our names up there after that just so people would know who to send their complaints to? As that one was popped up.
It's a good thing you and I don't have North Metro TV emails.
Too strong. Bengals back within 4. It's 7-3.
Can't get enough of you, baby.
Can't get enough of you, baby. The final Smash Mouth hit.
Man, if I were to
blocked right back down by Brown and Schmidt. Can't get enough of that. 7-4.
Yeah, I mean, if you Google it, you would think they have 1,000 hits. But really, we only ever hear All-Star.
Right up at the antenna and the camera. Bengals some momentum out of the timeout. Arrested right there by the poke over. Near side it comes for Brown. Off the block and down, 7-5.
Great finish by the Bengals. How about Zlab on the other side for the Rangers? Nearly took herself right in to the bench to recover that ball. Here's the finish. Touches the blockers and that sends it down right in the middle where nobody was standing.
Studer, the ace. 7-6.
Yeah, Andrews can make that play, but she waited too long.
Studer, a supreme look of confidence. The 7-6 serve to the middle. Peterson looked like it was going long, but the hand slips up for Crow, and it's 8-6.
So hard to let that one go.
Much easier from up here to look at it than you have it screaming at you off the left hand of Peterson.
And she could have thought that it was touched by a fingertip up front as well.
Near side for Brown. Brown puts it off the fingertips to the middle's lab. Far side she goes. That's off the fingertips. Pulled back by the Bengals and dropped back down in front. Thormisgaard and Schmidt in front. Thormisgaard gets the credit to bring us back within one.
Yeah, quick turnaround to slam this down as you see it come up to the front. And she works it herself on the second touch.
Far side, off the block. Schmidt's the double touch. Pretty much all she could do once Olsen got it through on the lift.
They called the lift. I really thought it was a double touch as well.
6-1, half dozen. I mean, I recognize they're different calls,
Yes.
but in that scenario, you probably could have picked. Allie Jocelyn. Too strong. Bengals will take it.
She's the team leader in aces, so you expect her to be aggressive. Didn't work out that time.
After sets that were just riddled with ties, for the first 17 points of this fourth, we haven't had one. Bengals trying to change that. To the middle, off the block, strong right there. Brown to pick it up. Thormisgaard, middle for Schmitz. Great dive for Andrews, but she pushed it a little too far towards the net. And there's tie number one of the fourth set, knotted at 9. First touch on the back row, push to the far side and down off the block for Jamie Ify. Ify had a good second set. Didn't have the opportunity as much in that third. Rotated right to her there, 10-9 Rangers. Thormisgaard back set for Brown, crosses the court, dug out. Pushed from the back line. Thormisgaard a chance to set. She'll come near side and Cam Poe just short hopped it. It's 11-9.
Rangers have been holding up, just trying to keep Blaine at arm's length throughout the course of this fourth set.
They opened up a 5-point lead. 7-4 run since then, still for the Bengals, and they'll get another from Cam Poe.
If they can feed her while she's up front, you have to do it as much as you can.
There have been big stretches of this game where she hasn't been up front. A lot of some of the inactivity offensively could go right at the doorstep of that fact. Middle. They say that was blocked back. Retry again for Forest Lake. Off the block there. Settled down by Zins. Thormisgaard off the bump set. And they're going to say that was out of bounds, wrapping it around the antenna. It's 12-10.
By the way, Elk River takes a 2-1 lead, beating Andover 25-17 in the third set.
That'd be a fair upset.
Yes.
Huskies haven't lost a Section 7 match all year. The 1 seed. That would also mean the winner of this one, I believe, got to host, as that one's inside of the antenna as well. I think they go high seed for the finals, or is that neutral site?
We could flash the bracket back up and be sure, right?
I don't know what it said.
It didn't say?
Might have said Tiba. They're going to play at TBA.
Well, if it says that, then it probably means that it's home site, right? Because you would determine your
neutral. As that one's popped back over by Schmitz.
Truck's always neutral.
I hope it's not in neutral. They might be in Columbus.
Good touch around the block. Nobody in the back row able to dive up in time to get there. Gets the Bengals back within 2.
Tao forces the strong first touch. Opportunistic there by Ivey, able to just get it over. Campo tries to hang it on the tape, but they were over anyway. It's 14-11. After all that, it's still stretched out to a 3-point lead.
Julia Peterson and the slab. Eagle Rangers and the slab serving. Oh, we have a sub for the Bengals. Natalie Schmitz.
Slab serving. Strong first touch, put the advantage there, but it was blocked right back. Campo in the middle with Schmidt. Schmidt goes single block there. Goes past her anyway. Campo on the swing, dug out by Slab. Andrews near side for Peterson off the block.
Great job, cuts it off the blockers, was trying to go cross court, but glanced it off an arm just the way she had intended. And for Julia Peterson, it falls to the floor on the Bengals side.
So the lead hops back up to 4. Campo from the back, dug out, sends it all the way over the net though.
Great attack by Campo on a rough pass.
Studer, near side again. Back set, Peterson. She'll put it down off the block. They're feeding Peterson on his near side, and the senior answering the call.
Yeah, not much for Studer to do there. Got kind of caught up in her arms. Didn't have enough room to work to actually lift it or to bump it to an elevation where someone else could get there.
The lead balloons back to 5, matching the largest of the sets. And the biggest once again since the first, when it was as high as 12. What it finished at as well at 25-13. Closer in the second, 25-21. 25-20, Bengal win in the third. I'm glad Cheesecake is here. Loved his career.
Cheesecake is interesting.
Yeah. Oh, that's not Toon Squad Squirrel, I apologize. That's Tasmanian Devil Toon Squad. Taz feeling it. Oh,
what is cheesecake? I mean, is that?
I have no idea.
Is that like beefcake?
I don't know what that's from.
I mean, I enjoy a good cheesecake.
I love cheesecake. I'd be eating cheesecake right now if I had it.
A lot of athletes for Halloween.
Little baby, actual baby. That is a really little baby.
It's very small.
Like 5th day of life, get out here and see some volleyball action.
She's looking for 1 set for each day of life then. Ooh, largest lead.
Yeah, 17-11. Near side, Studer again. A little tip of the block, back to Peterson, who else? She'll put it down. The soft touch, enough to change it up, and it's an 18-11 lead in the 4th. Bengals need magic time right now.
So they bring in their secret weapon.
Absolutely. Back in with Sarah Zins, but the driver's seat belongs to the Rangers, and the service error will
it already pays dividends. That was the move.
Dividends. Campo. Quick serve, Andrews there. She's been sure all night long. Big swing from the back for Olsen. Bengals an opportunity, just turns into a Zins attack. Andrews the dive to stay alive.
What a sprawl by Andrews. She got good distance on the slide.
Campo back line. Rangers back to it, near side Peterson, off the block, nobody there. Bengals back within 4. Back within 5, excuse me.
Let's say a solo for Zins. I mean, Madison Schmidt was there.
Into the net. 19-13. Can ill afford many more of those, John. Down 6 this late in the match. Got to play clean. To the middle, and it's blocked right back down. Drury making an impact on the defensive side.
Yeah,
locked up with Olsen.
Her and Olsen shutting down any opportunity for a quick attack. I feel like the defense of the Rangers has made good adjustments throughout this game.
There's been drama throughout the night after that first set, but the Rangers trying to hold the home field, and another defensive block right there by Drury. And they are sprinting towards the finals now.
And they got it where they wanted, and Zins with a good hit, but the block was too strong.
21-13. Can they close? Campo spins off the left side of the Rangers. And it's 22-13. Bengals a valiant battle here in this section semis after losing the first by a 12-point margin. They forced a 4th.
I think this is our first setting of Lydia Erie tonight, the junior.
Studer had it blocked back. Point Rangers, they were into the net.
Oh, 4 touches actually is what they say.
23-13, trying to end it like they began it.
Yeah, 2 more and they'll match that set 1 score.
It was much closer early, but a pull away late. Bengals do just get it back over, force Andrews to play. Back set, Peterson down the line and in. Match point. It was 11-10. 13-3 to here. They were tied at 9. Student section wants to end it now. McCoskey will try to oblige. Campo from the back, and there it is. How the season ends for the Bengals and how it rolls on to a section final chance for the Rangers. 25-13 in the first, 25-21 in the second. The Bengals get their lone win, 25-20 in the third, and 25-13, John, ends it here in the fourth. And the Rangers, as you see, they do advance to the Saturday finals. And again, they earned it, closing out
absolutely.
3-4.
You know, when you watch these two teams play, I wouldn't say that either one was significantly more talented than the other, but man, were the Rangers more consistent tonight in this matchup. And I think that speaks to the leadership they have. 11 seniors for Forest Lake. Moving on.
And to the Blaine Bengals, again, bouncing back from 2 straight losing seasons, which hadn't been what they've been used to. They put up 16 wins on the year. Congratulations to them on a good, hard-fought battle here today, and obviously a positive season that those that are coming back can build on. Bengals fall in the fourth. Final record for them sits at 16-13. For John Haddon, everybody in the truck, I'm J.W. Cox. Thanks so much for watching. Still got more to come in fall playoff action. You can see it all right here on North Metro TV. Good night, everybody.